Sportscast, May 6, 2020. If you haven't, please subscribe on all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. And visit us on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net for the latest. Today's sponsor is Insta Bible app, Create Verses and Pictures. You can get the download on the iOS App Store. NFL outlines ticket refund policy. The NFL sent a memo on Tuesday to all teams regarding the ticket refund policy that will apply to games that are canceled or played without fans present, and that will apply to all teams for the corona during the whole coronavirus pandemic. And join us all the way from Rochester, New York, the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic, Ryan Christa. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
We're doing okay.
Ryan, your reception a little bit iffy, but how are things up there in Rochester?
So far, so good. You know, in the real estate industry, people are buying some houses, maybe not at the rate that they normally do, but they're still going strong. So kind of life is pretty normal job-wise. Just not a lot of the extra activities that come to know time of year.
Let's read what the NFL sent. They sent a memo Tuesday. They said all clubs will have in place a policy under which if a game is canceled or is played under conditions that prohibit fans from attending, anyone purchasing a ticket directly from the club will have the option of either receiving a full refund or applying the amount paid toward a future ticket purchased directly from the club. The memo from Commissioner Roger Goodell explains. Ryan Christa, are we going to see a lot of refunds?
We probably will, you know. I mean, it's kind of funny because you got two sides of this. You got the NFL coming out with their schedule release tomorrow night. So, you know, they kind of got that, you know, no fear, just going forward logic, and then you get the other side of, you know, if they do play games on time, which plan on, you're going to have either one or two things: no fans or fans in only certain sections of the stadium, or, you know, isolated from each other. So there's you know, or you see those games are totally canceled or they're pushed back at different dates. And NFL just kind of going over, you know, all their options, you know, leaving no stone unturned.
Which you pull up a good point. The Miami Dolphins said today that they're only going to sell 16,000 tickets, and they're going to have, you know, sections for fans and for the away fans, and they're going to have entrances and exits, like very designated entrance and exits for the stadium. That is a pretty good idea by the Miami Dolphins, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you'll see that from, most major sporting events, stadiums, you know, where you're going to see policies in place where, you know, you're limiting attendance and limiting access to fans to only certain areas. It just, you know, it's better than nothing. You know, I mean, we're sitting here in May with literally no, you know, major sporting events on the calendar for this month. So, you know, I guess we'll take anything, you know, at this point, you know, when, as long as it's played, you know, the games are going to be on TV, and I think that's really all we care about. You know, I mean, yeah, after watching, you know, some Korean baseball the last couple of days, no fans in attendance, you know, I'm getting used to it. So,
which we'll touch up with the KBO League a little bit later on this show. But I like what the Miami doing. The Miami Dolphins are approaching. Of course, they got a huge asset in the draft, Tua Tagovailoa. But, you know, I was thinking either, you know, having no fans and playing at the training facilities, but that option going in between, having a good balance. You know, hey, we can't have the whole stadiums full, but if we can sell you, you know, 16,000 and, you know, do everything careful, of course, people will probably be wearing masks. This is a good solution. I mean, I like to see the Dallas Cowboys do the same, or like the Buffalo Bills. I mean,
I think you're going to see an outline. We'll see what baseball does, or summer, not spring, but summer. And then we'll see what policies they have and how um, things work. And I think you're just kind of just seeing how society goes. As we move forward in the summer and states start opening, you'll see how, as we kind of start to restart things going again, how does the virus, are the outcomes about the same, or is testing more prevalent? Are we able to, keep this under control? So I think that's going to, June and July are very important for the kind of the outcome of the NFL and see where we go from there.
You think the MLB? I mean, I don't know about you, but the MLB, I'm not sure because I'm not really a baseball fan, but I'm not seeing them as being a model. Maybe more the KBO League, maybe more than the MLB. I think NFL can't wait on that because they got to play now.
You got two different, countries, really. Korea from day one has been very proactive. Always, having masks and social distancing. So they're kind of ahead of the game of us, and they were able to kind of prevent, those huge major spikes in, the major areas. And, that's why they're kind of able to go back to, normal. What is normal with us for them right now is baseball. That's their sport, baseball. MLB, like you said, baseball's a different animal than football. Totally agree with that. And, I hear, during the day you'll hear, major outlets reporting different, solutions. I don't know what's true or not true. I think no later than August 1st we'll see baseball. What that looks like, I'm not sure, but I think they'll definitely. How long many games they'll play, I don't know. I just think we'll definitely see baseball. I just don't know if they'll be in home stadiums, or maybe just a couple of stadiums. And I think, once we can get, a solution in the sense of testing and keeping, so I think what you got to look at with baseball, and I think people are concerned that baseball players, is that they're going to literally lock themselves in a hotel room for, a couple months, and then all they do is just play baseball. So if there's more testing and more, access for players to bring their families along, and I think that's going to be the best solution. I think that's what the players are looking at.
That's a good date. I think this is the first time I hear a date about MLB start. I think August would be a good date to start. Obviously, have a short season, and then have the playoffs start in October.
Two different things. I think ideally what they would like is June 10th players report to where Arizona and Florida have a 3-week, spring training, get back in shape, get pitchers, iron up. They would start July 1st. That's too much wishful thinking, I think. I think August 1st seems a bit more realistic, and that's probably only going to be a 60-game, 80 games at the top season. And again, what are you going to do? It's hard enough to play baseball in New York and Boston in October, nonetheless in November. So there's definitely got to be some creative outcomes when it comes to the end of the season for baseball. But everybody's got to be creative. This is definitely not. Even when we get back to normalcy, it's not going to be completely normal.
In preparing for all elements of the 2020 season, including the schedule release, we have considered the unique circumstances facing us this year and have been clear that all our decisions will be guided by medical and public health advice and will comply with government regulations, Goodell writes. We'll be prepared to make necessary adjustments, just as we have in other contexts, such as the offseason program and the draft. I believe the policies that clubs have in place will serve the league and all member clubs in a variety of ways and will allow us to continue preparing for the 2020 season while also protecting the interests of our fans. Now, the Dolphins are taking the initiative. Can the NFL mandate, hey guys, you can only allow like 25% of your stadium full? Can they do that?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think, the NFL is, I think the owners have to come together, and there's got to be some sort of collective solution. I don't think it's going to be Roger Goodell making a solution by himself. It's got to be, all 32 owners coming together and saying, if we want football, this is how it's got to be. This is what the government does say. This is what the risks are. There's going to be a lot of risks, and I think the carrot over the head is the players want to get paid, and if there's no games, there's no money. So I think you'll see the NFL players are very vocal, I think, in their opinions, but they're also just opinions. They seem to have very long when it comes to stuff like that because they talk a big game, but like when it comes to the collective bargaining agreement, all you see is, online social media players say no, no, no. What happens when they vote? They vote yes for it. So I think you'll see an outrage for players, again, if the climate outside doesn't change. But again, I think the players want to get paid.
We'll see what happens. As Ryan mentioned, we'll be having the schedule released tomorrow night. And, of course, as expected, it'll be a full season schedule, 17. Of course, there will be a contingency plan, which I've heard that the latest will be start on October 15th, and the Super Bowl will be in late February. Of course, there's debates about the scheduling that will run into college basketball and other sports, but it's just 3 weeks. What's the big deal? Let's go into the Baltimore Ravens re-signed veteran Pernell McPhee. In an effort to continue to bolster their already solid defense, the Baltimore Ravens have re-signed veteran Pernell McPhee to a 1-year contract. The former fifth-round selection from the 2011 NFL Draft is working hard to return after suffering a season-ending triceps injury in 2019. This will provide Baltimore the missing piece to their defense that could have led them to the Super Bowl, a solid pass rusher. Was this a good signing for the Ravens?
Another solid move. I think this is a no-risk move. If he doesn't pan out during training camp, if he's not fully healed, they'll just waive him. But again, if he gives you anything, he's a good leader, a solid tackler. And again, I think we talked about this last time I talked to you. It seems that everything the Ravens do, it just looks really good on paper. Whether they for things. Are spot on. This is a team that wants to win and wants to win now. Even though they got a young quarterback, the window's open right now. I think they know the way they played last year. They might have 1 or 2 more years before the league kind of catches up and figures, Lamar Jackson out. So, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
You're saying Lamar Jackson has a time frame for him to be successful? Well, no, sorry, contract-wise.
Not
performance-wise.
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
He's a first rounder going into his 3rd year, so he's got, 2 more guaranteed years, and obviously they're going to pick up the 5th-year option, so he's really got 3 years left, on his contract. So, eventually, if he stays on this course, you're going to have to pay up. So, again, the Chiefs want to become successful, and they're kind of paying these big contracts out to Mahomes is because, you're paying kind of minimum salary for, the MVP of the league right now. And so is the Ravens. So you got to kind of make good while you can. So, you'll kind of overpay for everybody else. You bolster up your roster, and you take advantage of it, and then when obviously you're going to choose your quarterback over anybody else. So just like the Chiefs are going to choose Mahomes over anybody really on their roster. So, again, they're going to pay a lot of probably total roster go down a little bit. And same with the Ravens in a couple of years when they got to pay Lamar Jackson. So, again, there's 2 theories. This theory of where I'm saying I think Lamar Jackson is a special brand of quarterback. He doesn't play it the traditional way. He's kind of a run first. He can't think he's and I think they're putting weapons around him. But again, he's not Drew Brees. He's not Tom Brady back there. He needs his legs to be successful.
He's more of Michael Vick.
Yeah, he's across. He's definitely more polished passer than Michael Vick ever was. Michael Vick had an amazingly strong arm, but when it came to accuracy, it wasn't there all the time. But I don't think Lamar Jackson because he doesn't have that acceleration, but He's definitely, is better than average. He's more than average at running. As a quarterback and can make plays. I think, the Ravens to be successful for the long term, he's got to start turning, using those legs to extend the play and get the ball downfield again. With players getting bigger and stronger on the defensive side, you can't guarantee your quarterback running all the time. So, they're trying to give him the solid weapons around him. And so as he becomes that better passer, and they're hoping, his consistency will be there over time, that he'll, start to look to throw the ball more than run the ball. But right now, I think that's the formula. That kind of that college, option, you run option that, it's different than the Drew Brees or Tom Brady has. They don't, because they're not going to run the ball. So you kind of, again, you got to strike with Aaron Son. I think the Ravens do know before the league figures it out, or they got their windows open for a championship, and them and the Chiefs are kind of really separating themselves from the rest of the NFL. But just the NFC, the AFC North in general, what an interesting division. The Ravens, this team needed a backup quarterback more than the Steelers last year, and they have yet to address that. I guess I really do believe in Mason Rudolph, but I think they gave him plenty of chances last year. And again, I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback, but I don't think Ben Roethlisberger has got the capability to play 16 games in a season right now. I think probably the time.
Ryan Christa.
The Bengals, who just drafted Joe Burrow. I don't think they'll win a lot of games, but I think the excitement level there in the future looks really bright if all things come together for the organization. And then you got the biggest question mark of all is the Cleveland Browns, the team we thought was going to take the next step last year, and they took 2 steps back. So, what? But I think, you're going to get better coaching. I think that they can just, keep Odell Beckham in line. Again, another quarterback who can run and throw the ball. They got weapons running. I think that's a really solid defense on paper. So again, if you want to see what team really dismantled the Ravens last year early in the season, that was the Cleveland Browns. So you could see the potential of this team.
Something to definitely look at. Of course, Ravens had a great draft, so things are kind of meshing well. And Lamar Jackson was in the same class as the very same class with Baker Mayfield in the NFL draft. Frank Gore has signed a 1-year deal with the New York Jets. Gore, the third leading rusher in NFL history, kept on churning in his 15th season, passing Barry Sanders on the league's career leaderboard in 2019. Gore has 15,347 career rushing yards by the end of last season, trailing only Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton. Ryan, you've heard of Frank Gore. What are your thoughts about him signing the Jets?
Thanks for everything, Diago, when he passed Barry Sanders last year against the Broncos in Buffalo. So this guy is an ageless wonder. Again, I didn't, it's kind of the guy people forgot about on the free agency market. Interesting that he stays in the AFC East. After, last year he kind of started off strong. Slowed down a little bit as, when your rookie running back Devin Singletary kind of picked things up. So, I think he filled the role that they needed to last year, and that's kind of groomed Devin Singletary to be the dog collar for the, what was coming up. And then also, this is, I think, a good situation. The Jets are a team, I think, on their could fill that role as, that part-time running back. Again, I don't think he can really throw the rock, 20 times a game anymore. But he's definitely a player. I think he's got something left in the tank, and I think part of it, two things. I think he really would like to become an all-time leading runner. So I think he would like to play with his son, who's coming up very soon into the couple more years before he's in the NFL. So interesting you don't ever see too many father-sons in the NFL. But again, the Jets got LeVeon Bell, so this is a guy, in short yardage situations to kind of total rock. I think that's what Frank Gore can give you right now.
Yeah, and obviously, question marks about why didn't the Miami Dolphins pursue him, or why didn't Tampa Bay, because they just have Matt Breida, which people are saying is not enough, even though the Buccaneers have a great receiving squad. And just as Ryan said, his son is entering his freshman year at Mississippi this season, so he has 2-3 years to get to his father, which I think his father wants to be around. He wants to break that. Not break a record. It's not a record to have father and son in the same league, but has never been seen before. Of course, Frank Gore is a Miami native, so I know him really well. But why didn't Tampa Bay sign him, or like the Dolphins?
Because I think Tampa Bay would have made sense. The Dolphins, I think when they're not looking to sign any old veteran players for the short term. I think the Dolphins just see everything they're doing, not for this year, but beyond this year. So, again, I don't know if the Jets make a total sense. I don't. They're a little further along than the Dolphins are, I believe, but who knows? We'll see when the games get started. The Tampa Bay would kind of make sense because adding Tom Brady to that offense, makes them from a 500 football team to at least, in the contention to win the NFC title. So I guess, I don't know if Frank Gore had a chance. So I don't know who, this late in the ball game, and kind of after, a couple months of free agency, you kind of, I don't know how many opportunities he had. The Jets might have been the first team to call him. So,
and why didn't why do you think the Bills didn't re-sign him?
Well, I think the Bills looked to get, he filled that role. He groomed Devin Singletary. He did, they wanted to get younger at the position, and I think they wanted the future, but they wanted to draft to get a running back. I don't think it's anything against Frank Gore. I think it just they saw at the end of the season that there wasn't a whole lot left in the tank. So I think, the Bills want to keep playing beyond, Frank Gore can give you 16-plus games of that. Yeah. Leary, again, most running backs by 30 years old are retired, and you got running backs who's carried it so many times at 37 years old. There's just a lot of question marks. He brings more of a leadership, so maybe his character will shine off on, a player of questionable character like LeVeon Bell. So I think maybe that's what the Jets were thinking. So I think there's probably more question marks than answers with me.
But
who's a fantastic player and had a fantastic career.
He's turning 37 on May 4th. In a week, he'll be turning 37. There's no indication that he tends to retire, so we'll see how things go with him. Before we end the show, I do want to get your opinion over Andy Dalton going to Dallas Cowboys. What does that mean? Kind of similar question of what I asked about Frank Gore going to the Jets. What does Andy Dalton going to the Cowboys mean? What are the Cowboys' intentions? Andy Dalton is still in his prime. Dak is still the starting quarterback. But what do you see in this move?
I think that puts a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott. It's a very interesting move. Again, he's from that Dallas-Fort Worth area, played at TCU. So
he has a home there.
It makes sense there. Yeah, so homecoming, it makes sense. There's a lot of animosity between him and the Bengals. Not that he didn't think the Bengals should release him, it's just the timing of it. If he gets released a couple of weeks ago, when free agency first started, maybe he lands a starting job. Maybe he gets a bigger paycheck. I think he was a little upset about that, but getting $3 million to be a backup quarterback and becomes a starter, he can make $7 million. I think he just kind of wants a shot. I think obviously he's coming in knowing he's a backup and it's Dak's job to lose. Like the Cowboys, I think they really just want to see what he can do as a starting quarterback. In the regards of Dak Prescott, under fire. I mean, it's this year or bust. They've got drafting CeeDee Lamb. Oh, well, you got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and you've got enough options to win the game offensively. Can Dak take the step up? And if it doesn't after a couple weeks, it's not a bad thing to be able to turn to a veteran quarterback like Andy Dalton, and then it kind of proves to ownership, this is why we're not paying you all that money, Dak Prescott, from him. So, if you're asking who has the most pressure as a veteran quarterback, I think
And that's Dak Prescott. He has the most pressure of any quarterback in the NFL right now, according to Ryan Christa. You still there, Ryan?
I'm still here.
Yeah, you went off a little bit on reception. And lastly, the Bundesliga has announced that they will start the league. It's a soccer league in Germany on May 15th. Bundesliga is Germany's top tier of professional soccer. Is set to restart competitive play on approximately May 15th, according to Reuters. The government is expected to approve the restart of matches without fans in attendance under strict conditions. Ryan, we got a major league starting off very soon.
Yes, I mean, it's exciting. It's high caliber soccer that, we get to watch. I don't typically watch a whole lot of it. I'm more of an EPL guy, I think, just like you, Santiago. But it's not that I don't like Bundesliga. It's just not as available usually on a weekly basis as, the EPL is. But it's just be good. Like we said, the Korean baseball, these are testing grounds, for civilization to see how how players react. I've seen a little bit of pushback from this. A couple articles, but I think overall, Germany as a country is very exciting. I think the world is excited to see some more, high caliber international sports.
And there you have it. Bundesliga always starting in mid-May, not at the latest May 22nd. And just like Ryan said, the Korean League will be starting off again. And ESPN has reached an agreement to air games from the KBO League, the South Korean baseball league, the professional baseball outfit in South Korea. This is something that I don't know if it's a desperation for sports. The Last Dance, was not enough, but the KBO League is starting. Have you decided on which team you'll root for?
I don't know if I decided on a team, this morning while, getting dressed for work. Again, it's just good to watch live sports. I don't usually, with, Korea and Japan and we do have a couple of American players over there. So
I didn't know that.
Actually, a lot of, when you got the players who are, no longer able to get to the major leagues, and they don't want to play that grind of AAA baseball.
Yeah, which is very similar to basketball. Players go play in Turkey or in China.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, the international basketball over in Europe. That's how, the baseball is over in Asia. Kind of the same idea, the same way the NBA feeds off young Europeans is the same way baseball. Big contracts just to come over and play baseball in America. So there's that of appeal, to this league. I think it's not Major League Baseball. It doesn't have the same quality overall, but it's definitely quality baseball.
ESPN will air 6 games a week, starting with opening day, the NC versus Samsung Lions on Tuesday, March 5th, which was yesterday at 1 a.m. And then as part of the agreement, ESPN will become the exclusive. Go ahead.
I said I didn't make it to yesterday's opening day, but like I said, I watched a little bit this morning. So I think 5:30 first pitch.
Something they need to cover on SportsCenter because all they're covering is old Chicago Bulls games.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, they're doing their best to try to. Obviously, they're talking a lot of NFL, but I mean, there's only so many you can talk about non-playing issues. So, it just it's something a little bit different. Obviously, it's not something people will follow once American sports are back on, but it gives you that feel of live professional sports again.
ESPN will become the exclusive English language home for the KBO League live games and highlights for the 2020 season. The deal includes the postseason and the Korea Series Best of 7 championship. Anyways, KBO League is definitely the number one league right now in the world. Who's there? I heard someone in your phone. We're getting a lot of interference there. Anyways, this comes to the end of our show. Ryan, Christa, what is the best way to reach you online to talk to you about the Samsung Lions?
Mad Dog Report. People don't, just sports are coming, again, they may not look what we NBA just cancel the season. Let us restart hopefully October and November.
Oh, you're saying to cancel the NBA season?
Yes, please.
I think there's more of a push for that lately. Obviously, like the other plans was played in one location like Vegas, Orlando, or in the Bahamas. But I think a lot of the players are saying, even some players are saying they just want to cancel it. I mean, it's kind of too bad because, you were seeing like that LA Laker team, rising up. But I guess you're just going to have to rest up.
I'm just hoping, here's the problem, San Diego. We keep pushing. Every day goes by really with no close to any resolution. I mean, if you come up with a resolution tomorrow, you're still not playing until June. So every day we're pushing it back into the middle of June where you're restarting the playoffs. And that means you're pushing back the draft. You're pushing back the start of next season. I don't know. I'd rather have close to a full season next season, and then I think that's where I feel, it'd be nice to have, this crunch into this summer, blitz. But again, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right in a way.
And you can see all these news stories at thesportscast.net. Will be covered today at thesportscast.net. And, of course, on Twitter at thesportscast1. Tomorrow night we have Justin Riley and Joe Bag of Donuts from Pittsburgh to discuss how did Pittsburgh do during this draft, NFL draft. And, of course, would they agree on Ryan Christa's assessment that Roethlisberger cannot play 16-game seasons anymore?
And we have to ask Mr. Joey Bag of Donuts what his favorite Tremonti Brothers sandwich is.
That is a great question. I'll definitely include that in the random question segment of tomorrow's show at 6 p.m. live Eastern on Periscope or on YouTube or on the Twitter feed. You're able to see it at the Sportscast 1. Ryan, Christa, any closing words before we head out and eat some lunch?
Again, it's good to talk sports. There's NFL's never ending. Excited to kind of have that hope tomorrow night that we
savings market
dream of that. Until we hope as states reopen that things stay low and stay calm, and that every day we get closer to normalcy and not go back to the other direction.
And there you have it. Ryan, Christa, always a pleasure for you coming on to the Sportscast.
Thank you, Santiago.